Welcome back to the College Football 360 YouTube channel, everyone. In tonight's live stream, I'm going to be going over every single game in that happened this past day here, Saturday of the ninth week of college football season here. So it's going to be a laid back stream. It's going to be a really fun one, and I'm going to be going over pretty much everything that's happened in college football so far. Any message in the live chat, be it an opinion or a question, I'll respond to, react to, which is going to be a ton of fun, hopefully. And I'll react to some tweets. I'll react to all the scores here and give you all my analysis, and it's going to be really fun. So without further ado, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started here as soon as I adjust a couple things. And I think this is going to be a very fun stream, very laid back stream. This is going to be prep for basically what I'm doing in the winter, so you guys can have a bit of an idea of what's going on behind the scenes on the channel here. I am basically going to be getting a bit more equipment and getting ready for the winter. I'm going to go dark for about a month, and then when I come back, I'm going to come back really strong in the winter. I'm going to be doing a lot of content during the winter, going to upgrade my camera because obviously it's not great right now, upgrade my lighting situation, my background. Obviously, it's not my background right now is not going to cut it, and obviously my mic. I think I'm going to upgrade my mic as well. So I do think that it's going to be really fun. This is really just practice what I'm doing here over my break. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started here as I switch over to the scores, and we can just get started talking right now. So I just do a couple of things here. And here we go. Okay, so we've moved on now. So here are all the games that are live right now. As you can see, Oregon is leading Wisconsin right now. As we pull up this game here, I was watching it for a bit there. It's pouring rain there right now. I'm not sure how long it's been pouring rain, but I think that it has affected the game. Definitely, Dante Moore has not passed the ball hardly as all excuse me, hardly at all, as you guys can see here. Only 86 passing yards on 15 attempts. Uh, good amount of rushing yards here. Receiving, I mean, it just seems that this has been a pretty slow game overall for either team. As we can go in and see, because I haven't paid that much attention to this game, but since Wisconsin is keeping it close, we might as well go ahead and look. Um, Looks like Brock Thomas came in at quarterback for a bit. Noah Whittingham has 85 yards on the ground. Jordan Davidson has 87 yards on the ground. So they have 134 rushing yards. Oregon does. Decorian Morris got a good amount of yards. Just all that jazz. Kenyon Sadiq only one catch there. They have to get him more involved. On the other side, Hunter Simmons, the Wisconsin quarterback, only has one completion right now. A one singular completion right now for Hunter Simmons, and that's kind of crazy as he has only attempted 12 passing attempts, and as you can see, it is the third quarter, and that is crazy. But Wisconsin has amassed over 100 rushing yards there as well. So Oregon will come out and they'll win this game for sure. Uh, we need not worry about that, but. I think it is crazy, and I mean Oregon punts right there. So I think it is kind of crazy that that Wisconsin is even keeping it close. So that being said, Miami is beating the crap out of Stanford. Miami had some really fun jerseys out, some military appreciation type of stuff. So I thought that was cool. I totally expected this result here. I told y'all last night in last night's stream to take Miami in the points. So I think that that's really cool. Really quick, before I go any further, I'm going to switch over really fast so I can pop out this live chat. Okay, there we go. Okay, this game, halftime, number 3 ranked Texas A&M is losing to LSU, ranked number 20th. I was watching this game pretty closely, and Marcel Reed has thrown 2 interceptions, and they have been some boneheaded interceptions. I'm not going to lie. One in the end zone. They really should have 2 touchdowns right now. They should be up 28 to 18 right now. But a couple boneheaded interceptions from Marcel Reed. But other than that, Marcel Reed, the highs are really high with him. I mean, he is an elite quarterback, but at the same time, he makes some of the most boneheaded decisions out there that I've ever seen. I mean, this guy made one read in the end zone, decided to throw it straight to a safety, and I think it was AJ Halsey, who has been a fantastic pickup for them in the portal from I think it was NC State. But Marcel Reed, fantastic quarterback, but really has to clean up the lows. The highs are really high, but the lows are really low with him. And Garrett Nussmeier on the other side has been struggling a bit. He's missed a good amount of throws. Pretty much every one of his incompletions has been throws that he should have made. And I mean, what I mean by that is, be it dropped, be it a bad throw. I mean, I think that he has been really my main thing with Nussmeier is that I think he's been playing injured or at least hurt for the majority of the season. And, I think there are several tells that he has. He grimaces a lot. He's always holding a shoulder or a leg or hip or whatever. So I do think that he's playing hurt a lot of the time. And it contributes to my theory that I never thought that he was the top 3 quarterback in college football. In my preseason top 10 quarterbacks list, I think I had him 6, which is about where he was at the start of the season, and he's gone downhill ever since. I think he's the weak link on LSU's team because LSU's secondary is elite. They have elite playmakers. So the combination of Nussmeier and Kelly has not been great for LSU. But LSU's winning in this one because they've been able to bait Marcel Reed into some interceptions, and that's been the secondary. The secondary is probably the best position group on LSU's team right now. And I think that that's very indicative of where we're at with that. And Texas A&M needs to be able to sack Garrett Nussmeier. And I think that this second half, I think Texas A&M will pull away. At least I hope so. I have a little bit of money on them, so I do think that A&M will pull it out because I only bet what I, logically think. And also, Brian Kelly is notorious for choking in these sort of situations. As the third quarter just gets started here, as y'all can see, Texas A&M is going to have it, and we will check back in on this game in a bit. But I do want to get to some other games here. Louisville's got to be able to beat Boston College by more than this. Boston College is abysmal. Boston College is possibly the worst Power 4 team. I think they are. I'm ready to say I think that Boston College is the worst Power 4 team out there right now. But, you know, the great thing about college football is something like this can happen where you have the worst team in college football play out of their minds good, and a team like Louisville, who's ranked in the top 20, one of the better teams in college football, and they play their absolute worst, and anything can happen in any different scenario. I mean, there's been so many instances where a G5 team beats, a Bama, or and just anyone. I mean, take for example Florida. I mean, Florida was ranked in the top 15, and you had a G5 team go in there and beat them in their own house. But that's beside the point here. Just one of the thing I love about college football. But you see, Boston College has the ball right now, and in the third quarter, and they're only down by 4 against Louisville. Louisville, if they really want to contend and they want to establish themselves as a contender, they have to win this game by 14 plus, in my opinion. Looks like Isaac Brown already has 160 rushing yards. I had him as a top 5 running back in college football in the preseason, so I think that that was very accurate. Isaac Brown's just been great home run hitter, elite speed, elite acceleration. Halftime for the Michigan State game and Tennessee Kentucky game. Michigan has definitely struggled versus Michigan State, but Michigan State, they're 0-4 in the Big Ten, but they're really not that bad of a team. I compare them to Mississippi State, who we will get to in this stream, where they have been so close to beating some pretty good teams, and they've been competitive and they've been fighting, but they're just not talented enough to get to that position quite yet. But I do think if they stick with what they've got, they're going to get even better in the coming years, and we can expound on that later. Tennessee is putting belt to ass against Kentucky, it looks like. which is, pretty good, pretty standard. Kentucky is not a very good football team, and I thought Tennessee would be able to keep Kentucky to less than 21, so we'll see if that continues to happen. But Tennessee right now is on pace for 70 points, so there you have it on that front. A little bit of a surprise to me, but I wasn't too shocked by seeing this. Houston beating Arizona State by 10 at half. Look, yesterday when we did our previews, I said that this was going to be a really interesting game for a couple of reasons, and I think that that still is very prevalent here as look, Houston has not played anyone very good, and they're not going to be playing many good teams after this. So is a must win if they're going to contend for the Big 12 or even get to a college football playoff spot. This was a must win type of scenario because their strength of schedule is abysmal. They have not played anyone, and they really won't play anyone. As we can go ahead and look at that. Houston, they have not played. The only team that they've played was Texas Tech when they were ranked 11th, and they lost by a bunch to them. And you look at the rest of their schedule. West Virginia does not scare you. UCF does not scare you. TCU and Baylor don't scare me anymore. Maybe TCU a little bit. I think that they may lose to TCU, but even that game's at home. So just some stuff to look out for on that front. So that's all the games that are happening right now in the top 25, and we'll get to other ones later in the stream if time permits and if there is anyone still watching the stream at that point. But we need to cover some games that already happened because it was a crazy day in college football as I run a couple of things here. Okay, so just looking at it right here as we go back to it. So UCLA, so Indiana beat UCLA, but just to a pulp today. So much so that a lot of the backups got some playing time, and I always thought that this was going to happen. I always last night during my previews I said take Indiana and the points. I know it was a lot. It was like 26 and a half. Take Indiana and the points because of how well they prepared for this game. If you saw the pregame interview, the pre-week interviews, Signetti I think last Tuesday said that this is a 3-0 football team or 3-1 football team or whatever they're at since firing their head coach, and that was 100% true. UCLA was on a run of 3 out of the last 4 games they have won. Going back, I just want to make sure that I have that correct. So let me just check that. Yeah, so they were 3-0 in their last 3 games in the Big Ten. So they were 3-0 squad under new management, obviously after firing their head coach. So they took this. So Indiana took this week incredibly seriously. They wanted to make a statement versus a team that was pretty good coming out. And they obviously did. Aiden Fisher, as it says here in the press release, his early interception, it was a crazy interception. If you've not seen it, go watch it. Maybe we'll see it later in the stream. But it was just really an incredible game to just witness because it reminded me a lot of how Indiana beat Nebraska last year, where you had Big Noon kickoff in. It was one of those games that everyone's eye was kind of looking at it, although it wasn't a high profile game per se. It wasn't like 2 top 15 schools going at it, but it was one of those games where it's like, okay, Indiana's playing a team where they could possibly lose, or the other team could possibly make it interesting, because the other team is pretty competent at the time. I think Nebraska was 5-2, 5-1, something like that, and last year. And UCLA this year 3-0 in their last 3 games in the Big Ten, obviously beating Penn State, who was ranked number 7 at the time. But big statement win here for Indiana, and Indiana, in my opinion, is going to go really deep in the playoffs. They have the best win out of any team in the country. They have the best win, which is going to Eugene, Oregon, and beating them by 10. And they do have to play at Happy Valley at Penn State, but other than that, they should be able to just clean sweep the rest of this. I mean, they will beat Maryland by 40. They'll beat Penn State, in my opinion, by a fair amount. They'll beat Wisconsin by a ton. They'll beat Purdue by a ton. Because they already went in and played a top 10 Illinois team, won that game. A top 30 Iowa team won that game. A top 3 Oregon team won that game. So the hard part of their schedule is already over. So they went in and just absolutely crushed them. Fernando Mendoza didn't even have to do that much. I mean, the stats aren't even that eye popping, but you get these. first quarter, touchdown, touchdown, second quarter, touchdown, touchdown. Just a lot of just playing a really good field position game and just taking what the defense gives you. And obviously just getting done what needs to be done. And that's all I have to say on that one. It really was spectacular the way that Indiana is just able to beat these teams with ease for 50 plus. I mean, you look at teams around the league. Ohio State's only able to beat a team like UCLA by 30. Georgia's only beating a team like that by 35, 30 if even. So, it is really impressive how they just keep putting. They're just all gas and no brakes. And really, that's the case for this team right here, Georgia Tech. And we don't have to go into this game too much, but just looking at the box score here, I mean, Georgia Tech is, a team that is not talked about at all. Yet they have one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the country in Haynes King. As you can see over here, 25 for 31 on the day, averaged 10 yards a pass, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 304 yards through the air, and led the team in rushing with 91 rushing yards. So he accounted for 5 total touchdowns, QBR of 93.1. It was crazy. Jamal Haynes didn't even do that much, and he is one of the better backs in the country. And it's just, they're giving the ball to every single guy. I mean, look at how many guys had double-digit passing yards here. You got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. You got 8 different guys with, 15 plus receiving yards. So I think it's crazy how good Georgia Tech is playing right now, particularly their defense. Their defense had accounted for 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, uh, no interceptions, but I mean, it's just, seamless the way they're doing everything. Looks like Syracuse even gave up on Steve Angeli. I didn't see that. I'm not a huge follower of the Syracuse Orange, but that is interesting. Oh, but I completely skipped over this game. This Bama and South Carolina game was crazy. Um, Bama was losing this game for a while. As you can see in the score box up here, they got shut out in the third quarter. By the end of the third quarter, it was 16-14. Then South Carolina got out to another lead. So I think they were up by, I think, 9 at one point in the game, 8 or 9 at one point in the game. And then Bama just came back and they absolutely clobbered uh, they just absolutely clobbered, man. And Ty Simpson obviously keeps building his case for the Heisman, although he missed a fair amount of throws today. As you can see, this completion per attempt over here, 24 for 43. He missed darn near half of his throws, which was not great. The rushing attack for Bama just is not there this year. I'm not sure why, but it's just not there this year. South Carolina is not a great team. They're 3-5. They're 1-5 in the SEC. Oh, they played a hard schedule. Yeah, no, no crap. Everyone plays a hard schedule in the SEC, in the Big Ten, and honestly, in the Big 12, because everyone is in the same tier. It all depends on where you are. But we can get into that debate later. But it's just really interesting how we see South Carolina continue to collapse as we just pull up their schedule. Losses to LSU, Oklahoma, Bama, Missouri, Vanderbilt. It just keeps building. And it doesn't look like it's going to stop because they're playing 2 of the teams who I think are the most legit in the SEC, being Ole Miss and Texas A&M. And then finishing with Coastal and Clemson, where perhaps they can get a win or two, but they're not going bowling. There's no way this team is going bowling, in my opinion. And I think that why the game was so tight was more on Bama than South Carolina. Bama is a guy that eh, excuse me. Bama's a team that is just not, you know, I can't really put my finger on it as Michigan State, as Michigan scores a touchdown right there. I just saw that out the corner of my eye. But Bama, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just seems that they're not quite just this formidable force. It seems like if they were to go up against Indiana right now, I'd say Indiana beat them by 17. Ohio State's beating them by 10 to 13. Oregon's beating them by 20 because of the matchup. I think that Oregon matches up the best with Bama. Um, right now, Texas A&M beats Bama. Ole Miss beats Bama. A lot of these teams beat Bama. Um, and they've played a lot of teams who I think aren't like pretty much, I'm not going to say frauds, but teams that I think are deeply flawed, like Tennessee and Missouri and, obviously Wisconsin as well and South Carolina, and they're playing some more teams who I think are more fraudulent in LSU and Oklahoma. Now, if LSU can go and beat um, Texas A&M, then that would definitely put a dent in what I just said. But uh, we're just gonna let that be. Now, one of the bigger games of the weekend was this Ole Miss and Oklahoma game. Really messy game. It was raining for about the first half. It was not a fun it was not a fun experience. It did not look like a fun experience to be out there. Trinidad Chambliss was running for his life for most of the game, but I mean, he was a dog out there. He stuck through it a lot. Ran for 53 yards, passed for a touchdown, passed for 315 yards, QBR of 90.9. Definitely one of the most underrated stories out there right now. And look, John Mateer missed a fair amount of throws, 17 for 31. He had a QBR of 45.5. In these big games, John Mateer is not. I'm just sorry. He has all the talent in the world, but John Mateer is not showing up for these big games at all. You even see the rushing yards. He is a run first type of quarterback. He is like Josh Allen when he runs the ball versus uh, lower level teams. But the scouting report says that he rushes like Josh Allen and his comp is Josh Allen. But he only ran for 17 yards here, which is extremely concerning if you're Oklahoma because you need him to rush for at least 50 plus in order to win the game. You need him to be passing for 250 plus to win the game, but he's just not showing up in these big games. Santiago the third is his lone target. He does not pass to hardly anyone else. But Santanga is a dog. Sorry, I mispronounced his name. He is a dog out there for them. On the defensive side of the ball, Oklahoma's defense had 14 TFLs. Ole Miss sacked um, John Mateer 3 times. Prince William Umamiel, the transfer in from Nebraska, he has been playing with his hair on fire recently. He is really good. And this was a great win for Ole Miss. And if you watched the stream last night, I said Ole Miss was going to win this game, and they ended up winning. So if we just go ahead and look at the schedule for them the rest of the way, and I mean, look, they were beating Georgia for a long time in that game against Georgia, and they came out and had a bad quarter, and that's what lost them the game. Now you look at what they have left. They will probably win out. They have South Carolina at home, the Citadel at home, Florida at home. They will win all three of those games. Then they have the Egg Bowl at Mississippi State. One of these days, Mississippi State is going to actually upset someone, as we will get to. But I, Ole Miss is going to be in the playoff, and we're gonna go and read some tweets that I tweet out, but or X out. Who cares? But we'll be looking at that later because I did make some tweets about that. Now, this game, Vanderbilt and Missouri, was honestly kind of a yawner. It was so back and forth in the weirdest way. What I have to say is Diego Pavia is wildly inaccurate throwing the ball. I don't know how. Well, I guess it's because I haven't really watched many Vanderbilt games this year, partially because I've been busy, very busy, and I can't watch every single game. But watching most of this game, Vanderbilt was wildly inaccurate, as I see up here. Texas A&M took the lead up here, 21-18, but he was wildly inaccurate. He was overthrowing pretty much every deep ball that he threw. He threw, I think, about 8 deep balls. He overthrew about 7 or even 8 of them, as he only threw for 129 passing yards. His QBR was 60.1, and he was still able to lead his team to victory, which is amazing that Vanderbilt even won that game. Ahmad Hardy on the other side tried to carry his team to victory, but could not. If Beau Pribula stays healthy, honestly, I'm not going to say that they win the game because he wasn't playing well, but I think he gives them a better chance to win because of his legs. And he had 10 yards on the ground by the time he left, and I think he left right before the first half ended. So, or maybe it was the first quarter. I can't remember. But look, I think that Beau Pribula would have given them a better chance of winning, especially because Missouri's defensive front is nasty. It is really good. They were bullying Vanderbilt for a long time in that game. Sacked him twice, 3 passes defended, 4 TFLs, tons of tackles. Josiah Trotter is a dog. So is CJ Hurd. CJ Hurd is a dog as well. Was able to get a clutch fumble recovery, strip the ball, fumble, and just got it himself. And he was just amazing. Damon Wilson, the second from Missouri, absolute dog as well with the interception. So, um, watching that game, I actually put like Missouri a little bit even more. I don't like their quarterback situation at all. I never liked Pribula to begin with, and Matt Zollers looked very scared running around back there. Look, he's a freshman. That's going to happen, but the team around him, that quarterback situation is really good. Honestly, reminds me of the Vikings in the NFL, where everything around him looks pretty darn good. The offensive line a little shaky, but I mean, everything looks good. And on the other side, Vanderbilt, I just can't see them going that far in the playoff. I'm going to be honest. Uh, It looked way too messy for them. It honestly did. And obviously, they haven't played anyone of value until Bama. Obviously, the South Carolina. Obviously, we know they're not very good anymore, but Bama obviously got torched by them. They had a great win versus LSU, but I think that LSU are fraudulent to a degree. Degrees of fraudulency. So that's all I have to say on that. So we covered a lot of SEC there. Talking about this game here, BYU and Iowa State. BYU continues to prove that they are legit. They should be a top 10 team. They should be ranked eighth or ninth in the poll coming up as they could improve to 8-0 on the season. And they have played a pretty tough schedule, in my opinion. We talked about this last night. I thought that a similar score were to happen like this one, although. We'll talk about the game in a second, but they played at Colorado, which is tough, Utah, which is tough, and now getting that win at Iowa State. Their schedule ahead too. They have to play at Texas Tech and at Cincinnati, and getting these wins vitally important because if they slip up, if they get to two losses, you can't really be an at-large in the Big 12. But their schedule is pretty darn hard, and I think that they'll be able to make the college football playoff if they win one of those two games between Cincinnati and Texas Tech. Iowa State, this pretty much eliminates them from any talk of reaching the Big 12. It's elimination season. These weeks leading up, weeks 9, 10, 11, these are elimination weeks. This is when the rubber meets the road. Can you string together enough wins to be able to be in contention for your conference title standings? And it applies the most to the Big 12 because the Big 12 has so many teams. As you can see over here, we'll go ahead and pull up the full standings. It is so hard to win in this league because every team is power rated just about the same. Every team's except for Texas Tech, everyone is on about the same level of talent. So it's really hard to win when you have everyone pretty much playing another version of themselves, in my opinion. So it pretty much knocked out Iowa State because they have 3 losses. Anyone with 3 losses pretty much gets knocked out. So that would be Baylor, Kansas, and then the rest of that muddled mess of teams. I don't even want to name all of them. But the big thing here is that Iowa State and Baylor are no longer in contention, in my opinion. So you have the two undefeateds in BYU and Cincinnati. Cincinnati being Baylor was really good for them. Texas Tech's right in the mix. Houston, if they can, and this game is pivotal right here. Whoever can avoid the second loss between Houston and Arizona State really puts themselves in a good position. TCU's right in the mix as well. Utah's right in the mix as well. So I kind of draw the line after that. Again, it's elimination season. They're eliminating teams left and right. So it looks like Oregon has scored again, so they are up now 21-0. Like I said, they'll win this game, but it's going to be hard. And Texas A&M has taken another lead here, as I want to see what has happened here. So A&M has just punted. Marcel Reed ran it in, and then Casey Concepcion ran a punt back for a touchdown. He's just a dog. He's just amazing. Um, really good. Also, Bethel Roman, shout out to him, had one of the most impressive catches I've seen in a long time. One-handed catch, and the yak yards after that, chef's kiss. He was really good in that first half. Louisville taking a little bit more of a lead on Boston College, which is good. Michigan State keeping, like I said, they're a fighting team. They have good players on that team. Andrew Marsh is a good player on that team, at wide receiver. Aiden Childs, when he is smart and he's got his brain turned on, he's a good player. So that's what I have to say to that. Um, Houston has taken more of a lead, although Arizona State's driving. Tennessee, Kentucky, same score. So, and then Miami just beat Stanford to a literal pulp. Carson Beck played great. Malachi Fletcher, I believe is his first name, but Fletcher Jr., 106 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was great as well in that game. Again, I didn't watch that game. I didn't pay any attention to that game because I knew what the final score was going to be. Oklahoma State just got their ass whooped by Texas Tech. We all knew that was going to happen. North Carolina kept it close with Virginia. Although I do think they should fire Bill Belichick if he doesn't step down. Although it's good that he has a little bit of fight left in him. But glad that Virginia's good. I kind of like it when Virginia's good. Maybe it's biased because I'm from the state of Virginia, but I do like it when they're good. Memphis beats USF, everyone's darling in the G5. I told you guys this game was going to be really, really close. I said take Memphis and the points, and they were plus 2.5. Maybe they were plus 5. But again, this game looks crazy. As you can see, the win probability on the side. Hopefully, there you go. Um, but I always thought that Tulane was going to come out of the G5, and I still think that. But now with the second loss, it's going to be hard for USF to get in there. And I mean, you look at USF's wins, and they don't look very good now. Boise State was the top 25 win. They're not that great anymore. Florida, a really not very good team, although it is an impressive win for USF, and they got beat to a pulp by Miami. And then obviously playing all these G5 teams. So just something to keep an eye out. I'm not going to spend too much time on it as we look at the rest. This game was crazy here. Illinois and Washington, man. I had my heart set on Illinois winning. I doubled down on them even just multiple times. And Luke Altmaier, man, he looks a lot like Dylan Raiola for Nebraska. They hold the ball for way too long. 2 interceptions. Really could have been 4 for Luke Altmaier as I was watching this game. Washington definitely should have had 2 other interceptions. But um, really not a good day at all for Luke Altmaier. I forgot that. I mean, I had him in my top 10 quarterbacks coming into the season, and he was just not good at all. Like I said in my preview, they were going to need to get Khalil Valentine and Caden Fagan involved in order to win this game, and they just did not. And as you can see there, they did rush for 138, but that was across 4 players. It was just not very good. On the other side, Damon Williams Jr. is a dog. I mean, well, obviously he's a dog. He's a husky, but um, overall, he played really well in this game. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, QBR of 90.6, 280 yards through the air. Phenomenal play by him. Jonah Coleman, absolute dog at the running back position. Denzel Boston, I'm telling y'all, he was a good receiver from the beginning. A lot like Nick Marsh at Michigan State, where I thought that it was going to be a bad team, but a really good wide receiver on that team. Washington's a good team. Look, they're going bowling. Illinois is not going bowling quite yet. They're stuck at 5 wins. Washington's going to be ranked here. Washington has played some very tough teams like Michigan and Ohio State, and they have not been able to come out against those teams. But they've beat the teams that they should. And in your second year of a program, that's exactly what you want: is your team to be winning the games that they should. Maryland, Rutgers, Washington State, Colorado State, UC Davis, winning the games that they should. And you're winning not all the time, but you're winning against teams that are on your level. On your talent level, Michigan's right there, you lost to them, but Illinois is right there and you beat them. So up next for them, I'd say UCLA talent wise is right around them, and then they're a better team overall than Wisconsin and Purdue. So you go and beat Wisconsin and Purdue. UCLA is going to be more of a toss up game because UCLA, just because they lost big to Indiana, does not mean that they're a bad team. And I think that that game is going to be very important for them. Plus the Oregon game, they get that at home as well. Bit of a rivalry there. I'm glad that that's a rival. I'm glad that Washington and Oregon get to keep their rivalry because that is a heated rivalry. Um, and I mean, it wasn't like Luke Altmaier was getting pressured very much as well. I mean, he just held the ball for way too long. Obviously, no sacks on either side, which is kind of crazy. But Takario Davis, absolute dog, got one of those interceptions for Washington. It was just a very disappointing game from Brett Bielema. He just got flat out coached by Jedd Fisch, and that's all I have to say on that end. This game was crazy. Mississippi State has been so close to winning these games. Texas came back They scored 24 points in the fourth to come back from down 17 points. They were down 17 points, went into the fourth quarter, absolutely demolished them from there on. Arch Manning, he had an impressive stat line, but he did not play that well at all. He, missed half the throws, pretty much. I'm guesstimating there. About half his throws he missed. He did throw for a ton of yards, 346, threw an interception. His QBR was 55.6, which is about where it should be. Arch Manning is just very limited as a passer, in my opinion. And it's because Mississippi State does not match up talent wise that he was able to do so well. And I mean, the vaunted run game that was supposed to be Texas, I thought they had one of the most complete rooms in the country, plus a running quarterback, and they were only able to amass 72 yards. So Ryan Wingo is the reason why this team is anywhere even close. He is a special kind of talent, and he is just an absolute dog. 5 receptions, 184 yards. He averaged 37 yards per reception, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. On the other side, Blake Shapen lost a fumble, which was crazy, which was bad for him. But I mean, he was a dog. I mean, he missed about half his throws right there, as you can see on your screen. Not half. He missed about 40% of his throws, but he did not throw an interception, threw 4 touchdowns, and Mississippi State has been so darn close to winning these games. As you can see, lost to Florida by 2 in the most Mississippi State way. They lost by 2. They lost to Tennessee by 1 score. Texas A&M, they kept that game pretty competitive for a while, and then obviously was in the driver's seat in this game, and then just was not able to do it. I really do hope that Mississippi State ends up winning at least 2 games. I hope that they can win one of these 2 games here between Georgia, Missouri, and Ole Miss, and I hope that they can beat Arkansas because honestly, they deserve it because of all these close losses. I feel for them. So that is pretty much everything. Wisconsin is on the goal line here, which is very interesting to me. And again, if you have any comments, just put it in the live chat. Just want to check really quick, see how many people are even watching at this point. Yeah, we have a couple viewers here. Thank you to everyone who is watching. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, this is a tune up for the winter when I really go full on with the channel. I'll be getting a lot of new equipment. It's going to be a really fun time for the channel over in the winter. This is just more of a, you could say a practice run, although while I'm still giving all of my takes and everything. So, like I said, it's a bit of a practice run while still, being able to communicate with you guys and keep the channel afloat here till the winter. By the winter, I mean about mid-December. I'll be back and fully um, ready. So Texas A&M, they have taken a 10-point lead after being down by 4. They have had 14 unanswered points, and they have the ball. Winning percentage puts Texas A&M at 89.2%. Although this game is far from over, Marcel Reed still sitting at that 1 touchdown because he has 88 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns on the ground. I just want to look at what has happened so far on this drive. Yeah, it looks like LSU has just not been able to do much. Current drive, 13 yards. Previous drive, punt -4. They have just not been able to string together decent drives, and I mean, it really looks like LSU is a fraudulent team right now. And I hate to say it, but they are, and it looks like Brian Kelly is coaching for his job here. I did want to go ahead and just pull up some of these games. I'm a Nebraska fan, as y'all can see here. I'm a Nebraska fan, and I really do like to talk about Nebraska when I can. Although I'm a fan of, I talk about the Big Ten primarily. Everyone else I talk about uh, fairly regularly, but I do like to talk about Nebraska because they got some of the best fans, and some of my most loyal subscribers on the channel are Nebraska fans because they're very real. And I really like them as well. Shout out Connor Hayden from Corn Craze and Wilson Dittman from Wilson Dittman Sports. They are great people to go to get Nebraska intel, on just about everything, and I really do appreciate those guys. Those guys really were the main reasons why those two and College Football was saying were the three guys who really um, I was inspired to create this channel from. So, shout out to those guys as well, just from watching them and just seeing how real they are. I want to get to where they are at some point. So, with that being said, this game was very back and forth. I watched this game myself. Nebraska's now bowl eligible. Dylan Raiola did not play very well in this game at all, in my opinion. His one interception was a really bad one, and honestly, Nebraska really benefited from Northwestern's quarterback not being very good. He had a quarterback rating of 33.4, which is pretty abysmal. Two interceptions, a buck 59 through the air, and Nebraska really did get burnt with by Komolafe, ran for 125 yards, averaged 7.4 a carry and two touchdowns. But on the other side, Emmett Johnson continues to prove why he is basically the best running back in the Big Ten, in my opinion, with 124 yards from scrimmage, two touchdowns. On the other side, Isaiah Hunter is definitely the best receiver on this team with 70 yards, had an acrobatic touchdown, that one touchdown there in the end zone. Guys who played well for Nebraska, Rex Guthrie was all over the field today, had eight total tackles. Donovan Jones, although he gave up some pretty bad passes. He also had his fair share of really good plays as well. So he had seven total tackles as well. Another guy who played well, in my opinion, was Riley Van Poppel. He had a couple good series in there as well, and I was waiting for him to do that as well. Javin Wright, obviously, and Donovan Jones having the interceptions. And then Kenneth Williams took a 95-yard kick return to the house, and it's the second time he's done it. And I think that he is a guy to really watch out for them. It was just a really messy game, back and forth game, and I think that Nebraska plays like a traditional Pac-12 team, Pac-10 team. They have great skill positions. They're going to be pretty weak on the offense and defensive lines, but they're going to find a way to go around that and be able to win the game. So I think that they really kind of played into that, where they're trying to work around their offense and defensive lines because they have a great secondary, in my opinion. They have really good skill position players, and Barney, Emmett Johnson, Isaiah Hunter, and when they feed Dane Key the rock, he's actually pretty good, but they just don't seem to be feeding him that much. But then that's beyond me. But another game that I want to talk about, Iowa just absolutely destroyed Minnesota. I did not see that coming. I thought this had 13-10 written all over it. Iowa came out and just absolutely clobbered him, and Mark Gronowski still did not play very well. Only 135 yards and a touchdown through the air. And Jeremy Helinski came in. That's a name, Helinski. Drake Lindsey played terrible. It's just bipolar. The way he played versus Nebraska and the way he played versus Iowa. Three interceptions, has a QBR of 4.3. And by the way, QBR is measured out of 100. And as you can see, Markinowski did not play very well, and he got a 71. So there you have it. I just want to look at how each team scored. 2-yard run, field goal, interception by Lutmer, 29-yard touchdown pass, a punt return by Wetjen. So they're scoring the most Iowa ways possible. They brought their backup quarterback in for a touchdown. They got two field goals, a punt return touchdown, a passing touchdown, a pick six. And so yeah, I mean it was just the most Iowa way possible that they could win that game. They didn't even clear 275 total yards on offense, and they are still able to just I mean the stats look incredibly mid because it's all their special teams and just special plays that was able to win them the game. So kudos to Iowa for being able to go out there and win big. So I think that's it. I just want to check in on the scores. Tennessee has taken a commanding lead over Kentucky 42-21. They're going to win that game. And Houston, they're about to kick a field goal. It looks like 4th and 5 at the ASU 10, so they're about to go up 20-0. Michigan is taking a commanding lead over Michigan State. I don't know what happened there. Don't really care to know what happened, to be honest with you, so won't look into that. Louisville looks like we'll win this game. And then, oh my goodness, Texas A&M has taken even more of a lead. This is a beatdown in Baton Rouge, people. This is a beatdown in Baton Rouge. Marcel Reed has passed for yet another passing touchdown. He is at 196 passing yards. And Garrett Nussmeier is just not playing well at all right now, not commanding the offense very well, and this is just a splattering here. This is crazy how 21 straight unanswered points after LSU had 11 straight unanswered points. Marcel Reed has cleaned it up. Marcel Reed is just doing everything for them. He's a great quarterback, great dual threat quarterback. Concepcion takes punt return to the house. Reed uses his legs for a Texas A&M touchdown. I mean, it's crazy what Texas A&M is doing to them. So I do think I do want to end this stream here pretty soon. We're going on an hour now, but I do want to get to some of these tweets that I had. Um, okay. So, um, by the way, if you're still watching, if there's anyone still watching, thank you for watching. This is my X account, Eddie from College Football 360. My name's Eddie, if you guys did not know. Um, Go ahead and follow it. I do post it there occasionally. I post there a lot often, but I got off it because Twitter is a pretty toxic place. But like I put the stream up there. A&M plus LSU offensive fireworks all night long. I mean, that's exactly what it's been, except for the fact that LSU needs to they need to get their act together. They 100% do. I wanted to address this here. Dave Portnoy is just not a very good person, and I hate it when they bring these not very good people in and put and shine the spotlight in on them. And I'm not saying that Dave. I mean, I don't know Dave Portnoy at all. I mean, he's not going to be watching this. I mean, hardly anyone is going to really, be watching this. But Dave Portnoy and a lot of people agree he's just not a very good person. And I mean, he's just a pretty nasty person altogether. So I just wrote, why is this guy on Fox? Big Noon Kickoff fell off the minute this guy stepped on the scene there at Fox, and it's 100% true. And I actually kind of enjoyed Big Noon Kickoff, and I was in the minority. Mark Ingram, I really like him. I really like Matt Leinart on there. Urban Meyer even is, I think, better at dissecting plays overall than Nick Saban, although I love Nick Saban at College Game Day. But Urban Meyer's just a little bit brighter and a little bit better for TV than Saban, in my opinion. Although Urban Meyer has his own thing, but he's just on camera, he's a good guy, at least comes off that way. So I was actually liking it. And then they brought this guy on, and it just hasn't I haven't tuned into a single one because he's out here just making all these outlandish takes, all these, just wants all the smoke. And I mean, I understand that he's earned a crap ton of money for himself and has, Barstool, all these different Barstool things, and it's great that he does, but I just am not a fan of him personally. And a lot of people aren't, so that's okay. Um, Matt Be Great dropped this. I like he has a couple L takes, but I think that he was spot on here. Ryan Williams dropped a pass? Question mark. Must be an Alabama football game. How are you in college and can't catch the football? Well, first of all, it happens all the time, Matt. So, but he's the most overrated player in college football. Ryan Williams. He led the college football in drops last year, and he continues to drop at least one or two passes a game this year. He got benched for a while this year. I think it was about a game and a half or half a gamer. Point being, he got benched because he cannot catch the football. He has the most drops. Period. He is Kadarius Toney. But all the casuals love him because all the casual people see all these highlight plays that he's making. He makes about one every, you know, 3 or 4 games, where he's just, acrobat catch and all this stuff, and people love him, but no one watches the games. No one understands what's going on. So obviously all the casuals love him. I'm making all of these announcements on the channel like I'm going live. Ahmad Hardy is a dog. He actually is. He is probably the hardest working running back out there, and he's just amazing. I just love College Football Saturdays. It's amazing. Eli Stowers is one of the best tight ends that I've seen in a while. And it's funny because Vanderbilt runs their entire offensive scheme just based off of two players, Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers is just flat out amazing. I think he's the best tight end I've seen in a while. Him and Tyler Warren are the two best tight ends I've seen in the last 5 years, in my opinion. So there you have it on that and on that front. And last thing here, I honestly hope that Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss. I honestly do. Lane Kiffin, I think, is good for college. I think it would be a good thing for college football to keep Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. It's just a culture fit. It's the right fit. I just can't really explain it, but it's just the right fit. Obviously, I make announcements like I'm back for whatever. So, um, I think that is all I want to go into today. We're going up on an hour on the live stream. No one has live chatted, sadly, so it looks like I will be getting out of here. Thank you for the couple people that have tuned in today. Um, so it looks like we will just go ahead and end. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in about a month to a month and a half, depending on when I get time. So, with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.